Yeah, my name is Emily, and I work for MidFirst Bank. If you don't know MidFirst Bank, it's right there. And I have the coolest job at the bank. I'm not a banker, so I don't open bank accounts and stuff. I'm an educator. That is my whole job with the bank, which that should tell you something about how much we need financial education. That is my whole job. Okay. So the topic we're going to talk about today is actually my favorite one to talk about. And it's money skills that you need in your job. Because hey, college is great, right? But like the idea is that we graduate and then get paid to do stuff instead of paying other people to do stuff. That's kind of what we're all moving towards, right? So how many of you in here have had a full-time job before? Anybody have a part-time job before? Okay, cool. So yeah, so you know some of this, right? You need different skills when you actually have money coming in. You need to know what to do with it, right? So there's 4 different things that we're going to go through today. First, before you even get the full-time job, they're going to give you a salary number or a wage. They'll be like, this is what you're going to be making, and then you're going to be in a position to either negotiate with that or to accept it. And we're going to talk about how you make that determination. Then once you start getting paid, you remember when you got that first paycheck and it wasn't as big as you thought it was going to be, and you're like, hold up, what is this, right? Well, we're going to talk about your pay stub and where all that money goes. We're also going to talk about budgeting your pay, and we're also going to talk about retirement. Because if you have a full-time job that has benefits, you might be in a retirement account type of situation, and you should be empowered to have those conversations and know what you're talking about, right? So just quick show of hands, or show of numbers. Show me 1, 2, 3, or 4, which one you feel the most comfortable with already. Like maybe you've talked about it with someone before, or you're just really good. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay. Okay. Which one do you feel the least comfortable with? Okay, cool. So I saw a variety of answers. Based on your feedback, I'm going to spend less time on this and probably more time on 1 and 4. Okay. So first of all, there's this saying in life, you know how when you're little and all your teachers are like, oh, well, that's not fair. And you're like, yeah, well, life's not fair, right? Did we all hear that when we were 6? Yeah, okay. Well, it's kind of true. You don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And that's a big thing to remember in terms of, going out into the workforce. Now, that doesn't mean that every single situation is eligible for a salary negotiation. Sometimes there's not. But knowing when and how can be a really big, thing in your corner, okay? So I'll give you an example. Why negotiate? Well, I should ask first, why not negotiate? Why do you think some people don't want to negotiate a salary?
They don't feel comfortable with it?
They don't feel comfortable with it. Yeah, totally. Why else? Any other reasons?
They might not know how to.
They might feel comfortable, but then they just don't know the words to actually say. Yeah, totally. Some people are afraid. They're thinking, well, gosh, I deserve more than this, but I'm afraid that they'll just take the job offer away, right? Lots of different things like that, okay? So here's something important to remember. 3 out of 4 people will accept their first job offer, okay? This isn't bad. But what's really interesting is that 9 out of 10 hiring managers were prepared to give more if asked. Isn't that so interesting? And think about it, because you gotta remember, yes, you as the potential employee really wants the job, but if you're the hiring manager, especially let's pretend this is a big company, right? If you're the hiring manager, your whole job is to fill that position, and you don't want to deal with it anymore. Have you ever got to that point with something where you just want to check the box off your list and you don't care, right? Well, flip the roles a second. You're the hiring manager. You found a qualified candidate. You are so close to being able to tick the box off on your to-do list. And if they come back to you and they want $500 more, $1,000 more, if that's a couple percentage points, if that's within the realm of possibility, you might be likely to be like, okay, fine, sure, whatever. Can I be done with you now? I have other things to do, right? Now, that's not to say that every job is going to be that situation, all right? If you're an hourly worker, you might have to do it incrementally. You might not be asking for a couple extra dollars, an hour. You might have to work up to $1 increase. But if you do, look what that does. That's over $2,000 extra a year if you could get up to those little increments, right? It's even more obvious in salaried workers. Because here's what I think people think about when I say salary negotiation. I feel like sometimes people misinterpret that to mean, oh yeah, I'm sorry, you're offering me $40,000, I don't leave my house for less than 6 figures. Like, I feel like that's what people think of. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about making small concessions. Watch this. Here's two people that both get offered the same $50,000 job, which, hey, in itself is a very good place to start, right? Man, that is awesome. If you can get a $50,000 job out of college, phew, good for you, man, that's great. But this is to demonstrate a point. She changes jobs 8 times in her career, which is actually the average number of positions or careers you'll have in your whole life. Isn't that bizarre? And each time, no negotiation. Employee number 2 negotiates $2,000 extra. Not a ton, just a little bit more. And every time he changes jobs and positions, he also negotiates a similar 4-ish% raise. Over the course of his life, he will earn $1.5 million more than she will. Little bits, right? See, that's why this is so important. Because it's not that this is such a huge difference right here. It's that when you change jobs, you know what one of the first questions they want to know is, well, what were you making at your last job? All of that builds on each other, okay? So that's why those little bits can really make a big difference. So how do you actually do it? Well, the first thing is to do your research. So for example, my first job was as a teacher. There is no negotiation in that salary. That is your job. You see the pay scale, you can see exactly what you're going to get paid. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to look silly if I go in and try to negotiate a salary because clearly I haven't done my research, right? You might want to be researching your job market right now. You might be in a job market where, yeah, there are 4 employees for every single job, in which case, you know what? Maybe in my first or second job, I might not be ready to negotiate that yet. But maybe you're Googling and you're looking at median salaries, and the salary you've been offered is actually on the very low end of the spectrum of what is average for a college graduate. So then you're empowered with that information to go, well, actually, I know I'm being undervalued here. Hey, maybe this company pays very low. Maybe that's something I need to know about. But never go into a job offer situation without having looked at this. Guys, it is easier than ever in the history of ever to find out this information. I mean, if we were having this conversation 30 years ago, I'd have to be like, oh yeah, you might have to go to the library and you have to like call up some people and do some averages. Oh my gosh, you've got the Google in your pocket. Like just do that, right? It's super, super helpful. If you don't have the Glassdoor app for this kind of stuff, it's awesome. They tell you all the salary averages and where your company falls and do they pay high, do they pay low. It's really, really cool. If you do find in your research that you are able to negotiate, don't do this. A lot of people be like, well, can I have a little bit of extra more money because see, I've got this 2-bedroom apartment and it's kind of expensive and like my parking is really expensive. That's great. Nobody cares. Like that might be the reason that you need more money, but remember, they don't care about that. They care what are you going to do for them. So always have that lens on, okay? Not, hey, I need more so that, I can buy cable. It's, you know what, I had this internship and I had, this specific skill set that is meeting a challenge that you have put forth in your job description. And I am uniquely qualified because of X, right? Show what you're going to do for them. Or sometimes another strategy I've seen, especially in the first couple jobs, okay, this is a fine starting salary, but can we set a date to discuss a raise in a year if I have done X, Y, and Z for you? You know what I mean? Put it back on them. Because it's never less awkward to have the conversation as it is right then. And finally, keep non-salaried items in mind. This particularly has to do with moving expenses. You know, if they won't give you a raise, then at least that's, you know what, how about $500 for my moving truck? Or something like that. Sometimes they have more leeway in like hiring bonuses than like actual salary committing to paying you year on year. Remember those things, okay? What makes it successful though is you gotta be confident. If you are making a statement about how qualified you are, you can't be, you know, follow it up with, I mean, kind of, like I'm sort of qualified, I mean, I don't really know. Like that's not confident, right? Not arrogant, right? Because if I read one more article about old people complaining about millennials for being arrogant, I'm gonna just like, my mind's gonna explode. It's like ridiculous. But that perception is out there, so you gotta just go with it, okay? Confidence. Confident in what you bring to the table, not saying that you're better than what other people bring to the table. You know what I mean? Listening. You gotta listen to what they think is important. You gotta listen to what they think is important, not just think that you know what's important, right? Guys, usually it's in the job description. We see this all the time. I'll give you an example. So one of the starting positions at MidFirst is a teller, okay? So that's where to start at MidFirst. One of the most important things that we put big time in our job description is cash handling experience. Anybody worked a register before, or like you've worked? Okay, so you all have cash handling experience, and assuming that you didn't like rob them blind, you have good cash handling experience, right? So even though that's the most important thing to us, and we say so explicitly, we'll see these cover letters and applications that like don't even mention that. That's like 4 paragraphs in, and I'm like, what are you doing? We clearly said that this is what's important. So, you know, go with that. Determination. Look, just because you're in a bad job market one year, or your first or second jobs didn't allow you to negotiate, I would hate for you to then think that you never can for all 8 jobs or positions, right? Approach each thing like it's brand new and like you've never tried before, right? Learn from your mistakes, and if you get told no once, hey, you know what? Next time, don't let that influence you. It's not a big deal. And finally, knowledge. The more you can know about your company or your position, the better. Things like mission statements, okay? What is their mission? How long have they been around? You know, what are some of the challenges they've had? Are they growing? Are they having problems? Did they, you know, anything that you can show that you have done research, that's awesome. Give you another, you know, because we hire a lot of people at MidFirst, right? So if you come into the bank and you're like, hey, I'd like a job, and we say, why do you want to work at MidFirst? And you say, well, because Wells and Bank of America said no. Like that's not really selling me on you. Do you know what I mean? But if instead, and hey, you might have applied there first, but don't highlight that, right? Say, well, you know what? MidFirst is a privately held company. I like that. I think that's cool, and I want to work for a privately held company. Or, you know, I like that. I see that you are a big, small bank, and I think that's kind of the best of both worlds. So I really think I would work well in that environment. Oh, well, someone's done their research, right? This applies to any job that you're applying for. Any questions on that piece before we move on? Because I feel like these are like 4 mini presentations within a presentation. Anything about salary negotiation? Had you guys talked about this with somebody before in your life? It's one of those things that's kind of like, it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary, you know, when you're in that situation. All right, so once you get paid, you get the job. Congratulations, you're all amazing. Of course you got the job, right? You're TRIO graduates. And so you got the job, and now you're expecting X amount of money, and you get your pay stub, and you're like, oh, it's not as much money as I was thinking I was going to get. Because there's a lot of different things in your pay stub, right? There's your gross pay and your net pay. Now which one, for those of you that work, you know this, which one should you use for your budgeting, your gross pay or your net pay?
Net pay.
Net pay, right? Because your gross pay is just a pretty little number that you'll never see again, right? Your gross pay is like your annual salary divided by 12, and that's what you get every month. Your net pay is what actually goes in your bank account. And that is with the taxes taken out and everything like that. So this is the number that you want to be looking at. Okay. Now, I will say, a lot of people get, they have filled out their W-4 wrong, and they have too much tax coming out of their paycheck, and they get a huge refund at tax time. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's awesome, I'm gonna get a huge tax refund. Guys, that's your money. Like a huge tax, it's not like the government was just like, here's some. That's your money that you had just let be somewhere other than your bank account for a year, right? So if you're getting a huge tax refund, you might want to talk to your tax person or whoever you're getting tax advice from and be like, gosh, did I fill this W-4 out correctly? Because I kind of feel like a lot of taxes are being taken out and I'm getting them all back. So am I doing this right? Okay. Federal taxes are probably the number one thing that you'll see taken out. Okay, like I said, it's based on that W-4 that you filled out. If you don't remember filling out a W-4, it is one of the many, many forms that you signed to get hired. It is also a super annoying form because people aren't allowed to give you advice on it if they're not like tax professionals. Everyone's really wary of helping you with that form. And so you might have asked your HR person, well, what do I put there? And they'd be like, I don't know, I can't tell you. Go ask a tax person. So talk to that person in advance, talk to your parents, hey mom, dad, do you still claim me as a dependent? Do you not? Have those conversations in advance so you're not sitting there trying to go for a job and not knowing what you're doing on that form, okay? So the federal government wants money, but the state wants money too. So they're gonna take some money out of your paycheck, not nearly as much as the federal government. Social Security. Well, you'll also see that as a line item being taken out of your paycheck, which is required to be held by the government for for benefits for retired and disabled workers. So you'll see that. You'll also see things like Medicare taken out, which is kind of like the medical version of Social Security, to put that in a very nutshell. All right. These are just some of the things, but these are some of the major things that you see taken out of your stuff. What else might you see? Well, this is like a fake paycheck right here. So let's see. Usually in this section is where you see the extra stuff. So you'll see things like, hey, maybe you have insurance through your job. You'll see your insurance, what you paid for the insurance for the year. You'll see retirement contributions if you've got a 401k. You'll see exactly how much you've contributed to that 401k year to date. You'll also see, this is my favorite part of my pay stub every week. I get to look at how much vacation I've accumulated and when I get to use it, right? But those are also, oh, remember, it's in hours, guys. Sometimes a rookie mistake is thinking that's days, and you look like, I have 100 days of vacation. No, it's 100 hours. So get that dividing happening, right? So for example, so here's the paycheck. So right here, of course, nothing looks the way it should, right? We all do these like annoying acronyms that everyone has to just figure out on their pay stub. So you've probably seen this acronym, you've probably seen FICA. And you're like, who the heck is FICA? Why does he have all my money? What's he doing with it? What's he doing with it? Well, FICA stands for the Federal Insurance Contributions Act. And it is the legislation that allows Social Security to be withheld from your check, okay? So you'll see like FICA Med Tax, so that's Medicare. FICA SS Tax, what do you think that is? Social Security, yeah, see there you go, everything's a fun acronym. Let's see, some other things, so this example was from California, so I'm pretty sure that CAST tax is California State Tax, SDI is another one, short-term disability insurance is another thing you might see, okay? Long-term disability insurance, all those little things that you might be paying for and not realizing. That's why you want to look at your pay stub, right? You're also going to see two sets of numbers. You're going to see what you paid in that pay period and what you've paid year to date. So for example, this person, every paycheck pays $10 towards short-term disability, and so far in this year, they've paid $50 total. These are important numbers to look at, guys, because you might see, like when they say, oh, $10 for short-term disability, but when you look at how much you've spent total, you might say, oh man, maybe I don't need that, or maybe I do need that. But the way to judge if it's worth it or not is to look at these year-to-date numbers. How much does it cost you for the year, right? Personally, short-term disability has worked out well for me more than once, but that you gotta do these things on your own calculations. Direct deposit can also be a really awesome budgeting tool, okay? So what is direct deposit? It's when you
Go straight to your bank.
money goes straight to your bank account. Okay, now I will admit, I was one of the last direct deposit holdouts. Okay, I will just straight up admit this to you, because I don't know, there was something magical to me about taking that check to the bank every 2 weeks, and like I saw that it went into my, I don't know, guys, I'm crazy sometimes, but you know what I mean, like you get like emotional attachments to a process, right? Well, then I switched over to direct deposit. I was like, oh my gosh, Emily, what have you been doing with your life for the past like 10 years? This is stupid. Like, this is so much easier. Okay. Yeah, it goes right into your bank account. Now, another thing I've done is I've started splitting my direct deposit. A lot of people don't realize you can do that. So I put some of my paycheck right into my checking account, most of my paycheck right into my checking account. But some of it, I don't put 20%, but some of it, I put right into my savings, and it's great because I don't think about it, I never see it, and I make work save for me, right? So if you've never thought about doing that, oh man, I would highly suggest doing that, because especially like if you're, really concerned about, paying off your student loans or something, man, I would funnel as much of that savings and see what's there at the end of the year. Hey, look at all this money saved. Pay off, send a big chunk to your loans, or put a big chunk in your emergency savings, right? Anything like that. But if it goes in here, I might be more tempted to spend it. So that's budgeting so that's looking at your pay stub. That and this budgeting piece kind of are one and the same. Because I find that the people who don't budget very well are also the people that never really look at their pay stubs and never, like you'll say, oh, hey, how much do you pay for health insurance? And they're gonna be like, I don't know, comes right out of my paycheck. Well, but you should know. You know what I mean? Or, oh, how much do you put for retirement? I don't know, it just comes out of my paycheck. That's not an excuse, stop it. You should know, right? It's your paycheck, you should know. So that's where budgeting your pay comes in. A lot of people, when they get their first job, here's the problem. If you go, let's say you have a $40,000 a year job. No, let's use my example. So when I first started teaching, my very, very first job, I got paid $32,000 a year, okay? Which is a middle to low job, okay? So I went from making zero money to $32,000 a year. I got that first paycheck, I'm like, I'm rich. I am legit rich right now. This is amazing. I can go spend just anything, right? But I wasn't thinking. I didn't do this first. I thought I was just, oh man, here's a couple $1,000s. I've seen all this money together in like 5 years. This is great. Pay yourself first. If you remember one rule of budgeting, it's this, okay? Pay yourself first, which means before you go spend whatever you had your eye on, or before you go spend before you spend even $1, you pay yourself, which means you save it. So you figure out, hey, you know what, I'm gonna save 10% of my paycheck. I don't know, maybe that's unrealistic for you. Maybe it's 5%, maybe it's $20. Maybe it's 40% because you don't have a lot of expenses yet, It kills me when, like, I'll talk to high school students and they've got a part-time job and they're like, well, I don't know if I can save that much. I'm like, really? What are you spending your money on? You're 15. Like, do you have expenses? I don't understand. Like, why would you just not put all of that in a savings account, right? So yeah, it means put that into savings first and then do whatever else you're gonna do with money, okay? Why save? Why do I put such a big old thing on saving? Well, look guys, I've got a very negative view on saving. Well, I shouldn't say negative, it's depressing. They tell people that we should have 3 to 6 months of living expenses set aside in a savings account. I know, that is like, are you serious? I am working towards this. I'm close. I'm close right now, but I'm not quite there yet. Okay? 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Now that is difficult, but can you imagine a scenario where you would be super glad as a working adult, you'd be super glad you have that? What could happen? Lose your job, right? Oh, come on, guys. I know you're negative like me. Come on, we can all be depressed together. It's wonderful. Yeah, you could lose your job. You could get in a car accident, right? You could have any number of personal tragedies happen to you. All of these things. And you got to have money to deal with it, right? I mean, you got your first apartment. Guess what? If you're still looking for a job, your landlord still wants rent. It's a real bummer, but it's life, you know? So that's why you want to have these things. Lost job, medical emergency, car accident, or even, this just happened to my sister, you know, she and her best friend lived together. She thought she'd never have to worry about her rooming situation ever again because, you know, oh, I'm always gonna have this person. Well, all of a sudden at the last minute, when the lease was up for renewal, the friend was like, oh, actually, you know what, I've got my own plans. And my sister's like, are you kidding me? This is downtown Chicago. How am I supposed to find a place by myself? Seriously? And she was really struggling. Now she has some savings, so it's fine. But yeah, you know, you don't want to have to rely on other people. You gotta look out for you. Everybody else does, right? What helps me is, so I'm kind of a worst case scenario person, right? So I feel like everybody needs to have their own personal worst case scenario. So for me, it's this right here. I have friends who know all the ins and outs of how to like fix a car and do stuff. I am not one of those people. When my car breaks, I just look at it. I'm just like, why don't you work? Just work. Just stop being broken. Like I get really mad at it. And I never understand why it costs so much money to fix. So for me, my worst case scenario, every time I'm tempted to like skip a month of saving or, you know, go on an extravagant thing that I can't afford, I'm like, no. What if I got stranded on the side of the road and I needed an $800 car repair? Could I fund it? And that's always kind of my like, okay, no, you better save instead. And I talk to people all the time. I was talking to this college senior, not college, freshman, new freshman, so she was a graduating high school senior. And she was telling me she was so proud of this car she was about to buy. She was going to buy this Chevy Silverado, and I don't know, I guess some people are into that. She was really into it. And she was telling me, oh, Emily, I'm so proud, I can totally afford the payments. And I said, well, can you afford the payments and afford to be building up your emergency savings? And she's like, what are you talking about? So yeah, your paycheck might cover your, you know, luxury that you want to buy, but then is there any savings, is there any cushion if something goes wrong? You know, I'm telling you, it's depressing. It's the most depressing workshop I give, and I'm really sorry that we all sit there together, but it's so true, right? So here's what budgeting looks like, guys. There's really only 3 steps. God, it's one of those words that, it's like diet, you know? When I say budget, people are like, they have this visceral like reaction, okay? We're gonna make it super easy. All you gotta do, you save first, pay yourself first, then you pay your needs, then you pay your wants. Like that's the big picture, okay? Here's my paycheck. Okay, I'm gonna be making this much money, so that means that I need to make sure I put 5% in my savings or whatever it is. Then I need to make sure I have money for this need, this need, this need, this need. Is saving a need or a want? If you had to put it in one of those categories, what do you think? It's kind of like a need, right? The people who view savings like a want, those are the people that are going to, you know, continue to put this first step last. One of the great things about budgeting, guys, I would hate for you to walk away from this workshop and think that I'm telling you to never buy anything fun that you want. Look, if you go get this great job, yeah, you know what, of course you deserve it. You deserve to have some of the things you want. The people who are good at managing their money, though, are the people who don't buy all the things they want. Right? I mean, isn't that the truth? Yeah, you might, you know, hey, is travel important to you? Great. Then you might want to funnel some of your extra fun money into going and traveling the world. But that also might mean that you can't then have the latest brand new smartphone and the brand new car and designer clothes. Like it's a pull and tug. What's important to you, right? Now, what your actual budget looks like can vary. The basic thing is that it has to have money coming in versus money coming out. So however you want to set that up is totally fine. But if you have a full-time job for the first time, or for the first time in a while, I highly, highly suggest that you do this. Because you're going to want to look at money coming in, how much am I paying in taxes, so then what's my net pay? Car insurance, parking, maintenance, you know, those are the auto expenses. You might have school expenses, you might have food, like whatever it is. You got to get those categories down. You might have to track your expenses for 30 days to even know what those categories are. I remember when I first started like living outside of college, I had expenses that I just didn't even realize were expenses, you know? Like I just didn't realize how much internet was when you weren't splitting it with a roommate. You know, you just don't think about those kinds of things. On the income side, you want to list money coming from all sources. So, as an example, if you're doing this now, even if you don't have a full-time job yet, you know, that's okay. You might be factoring your grant money in there or your scholarship money, that's okay. On the expense side, you want to be looking at the fixed and the variable expenses. So that's what's crucial when you do your first budget. Some expenses, they are what they are. Like if you've got an apartment, rent is rent, right? If you need to eat, which we all do, well, you can eat very expensively or you can eat cheaply. That's a variable expense. So the variable is where you can have a little wiggle room when you're planning your first budget. Okay. Now, we kind of glossed quickly over that because you indicated that it was something that you knew a lot about. I want to spend the bulk of our time too on this retirement piece, because this is just one of those things that people are sometimes ashamed to admit they don't know a lot about, and therefore they don't ask questions. And I would hate to ever see you get put in a situation where you can be taken advantage of, or you're not saving as aggressively as maybe you could, just because you didn't know the questions to ask, okay? So let's go over it. In retirement, the very first step you have to make is deciding to save. You have to decide, yes, retirement is important to me. Once you decide that, there's many different options. So at your job, if you've got a full-time benefits eligible job, you might have some kind of employer plan. They probably can take your retirement contributions out of your paycheck, your payroll deduction. Employers usually have a plan called a 401k. Sometimes it's called a 403b. But that's like the most common kind of retirement account, right? If you work in the government, or if you're a teacher, you're probably going to have a pension. You're going to have the Arizona State Retirement System. It's a little bit different, but it's all kind of the same. It's the same concept. You cannot just go into a bank, you as a person, and say, yes, I'd like to open up a 401k. Your company does that. Your company has a big plan that you are then part of. Some employers will match your contributions to your retirement account, which is super awesome. But if they do, sometimes there's what's called vesting rules. I'm going to show you what that means. So, like, let's say that you contribute, I don't know, $5,000 to your retirement account, okay? Well, your company might also match that money. They might say, hey, you give $5,000, I'll give you $5,000. But what happens to their money depends on how long you've been with the company. So for example, at MidFirst, if I put 6% of my salary into a retirement account, they will match dollar for dollar that 6%. That means, in addition to the salary that I'm already getting paid by them, they will give me more money as long as it's in the form of a retirement match, okay? If I left MidFirst tomorrow, I could take all of my money with me. That's not theirs, that's my money that I put in my 401k. But the money that they matched, I wouldn't be, I'd have to leave that. I would not get to take that with me yet. At MidFirst, you are fully vested after I want to say it's 5 years, but I think they might have just upped it. So let's say 5 years. If I leave the company on one day after 5 years, I can take mine and all the money that they put aside. Pretty cool, right? Now, why does that matter? Well, it matters because you want to, that's a huge benefit, guys. If you're looking at 2 jobs and one matches your retirement account and the other doesn't, look at the one that matches. Guys, that is huge money. Just because you don't see the money in your paycheck, it's there, right? But you also want to look at the vesting. Why do you think, if you were a boss, if you were a company, why would you have vesting rules like this? Why do you think?
Retain your employers?
Retain your people, right? I mean, hey, If I was like super mad at my job, but if I stuck it out for 6 more months, I would get their money, maybe I'm not so mad anymore. Maybe I find a way to make it work, you know? They don't want good people to leave. They want to keep good people. Now, let's say that you're working for a company that doesn't have a retirement plan, doesn't have a 401k, or maybe you're working part-time. Does that mean you can't save for retirement? No. It just means you're going to look at an individual option instead of a group option, okay? So those are typically called IRAs, an IRA, individual retirement account. Have you heard about those, that word tossed around? Okay. There's 2 basic kinds that you got to remember, IRA and Roth IRA. I'm not going to get into the difference between those 2 because that would literally take also an hour. Just have in mind it has to do with how they're taxed. Okay, just know that with a Roth you pay the taxes on it now, with an IRA you pay the taxes on it later. Just know that that's what the difference has to do with, okay? You could totally put your money in an IRA. Heck, you could put your money in a savings account. Real estate, sometimes people go buy houses as their retirement plan. They're like, you know what, I'm gonna go buy this house and I'm gonna rent it out for 20 years and then at the end of 20 years I'm gonna sell it and that's gonna be my retirement money. You know, people retire in a lot of different weird ways. This and the 401k are the most common things, so that's why a lot of people talk about those, all right? These you can totally do at a bank. You can walk into any bank, well I shouldn't say any bank, most banks. You can walk into most banks and say, I would like to open up an IRA, here's my money. Now, how much you contribute depends on what tax year it is and everything. So right now, I want to say the limit for a traditional IRA, like you can put $5,500 in it every year. Because there's tax implications, the government doesn't just let you put all your money in a tax-free account. Like that's not how it works. But you can, as long as you have earned income. That's the other thing to remember. With these accounts, I'll talk to a lot of like 18, 19-year-olds who are really savvy. They really want to start saving for retirement early, but they don't have a job yet. You have to have earned income in order to do this. And why I say earned income, that means you can't just like get some cash for babysitting and then go do this, because that's kind of under the table. You're not being taxed on that. You have to like have a legit job that has taxes taken out to be able to do one of these. A very common misconception of retirement is that just putting your money in a 401k is going to make you money, or that putting money in an IRA is going to grow somehow, right? There's the IRA and the 401k is just the vehicle. It's like the container that holds your money. Then you have to go invest that container somewhere, okay? There's a lot of different places that you can invest that container of money. You can invest it in stocks, okay? So a stock is just a shared ownership of a company. You can invest it in an annuity. So you'll hear this word tossed around a lot. Annuities have to do with insurance products. So they're not necessarily stocks, they're not companies per se, but you're buying a type of insurance product that pays disbursements. Bonds. Some people, invest in bonds. When you invest in bonds, what you're doing is you are becoming the bank. You are lending money to a corporation or a government, and in exchange, they're paying you money back. A mutual fund is a collection of assets. So if you were to do this, if you were to want to invest in a bunch of different stocks, you would have to research them all on your own. Or you could invest in one mutual fund where someone else has done all that research for you and put a bunch of stuff together, and then you just invest in that fund. Think of it as buying a bouquet of flowers instead of having to go to a garden yourself and picking out each individual flower. You pay someone else to do that for you and put a nice little bouquet together for you. And then finally a CD. Sometimes people put money in a CD, which is called a certificate of deposit. Now, I will say this is different than all of these. Because a CD up here is the only thing on this board that is guaranteed. If you put money in a CD, so here's how it works. You go to the bank and you say, hey, I've got, an an IRA, I've got like $5,000 and I would like to put it in this CD. I would like to keep it in a CD for 2 years, and I see that you're paying 1% on that CD right now. Banks give you higher interest in a CD because you're promising to keep your money there longer, but it is guaranteed. If you need to pull that money out for whatever reason, you are guaranteed to be able to pull it out. Now, if you take it out before the time limit is up, then you sacrifice all of the interest that you've accumulated as a penalty, but you never have to worry about your money not being there. Is that the case for these other things? No. Okay, so it's really critical to remember. If you've got your, retirement fund completely in the stock market and the stock market tanks, well, guess what? You don't have as much money in your retirement account anymore. I will tell you as a general rule, pretty much nobody's retirement account goes like this steadily, okay? If you do, man, tell me who your financial advisor is, because they're amazing, okay? But it'll go down, it'll go up, it'll go down, and the hope is that the general trajectory is up. Now, your company will help you with this, okay? Your company has, in most cases, if you've got like a 401k, your company has hired a firm to help people with this. And you'll probably have a default account. So like, as an example, at MidFirst, I've got my money in my 401k, and I can click a box that says, just put me in the default account. And the default account is this percentage of stocks, it's this percentage of mutual funds, it's these funds, I can look up what they are, this percentage of this is this. And if that looks good to me, I can be like, sounds good. The default account is generally kind of not too risky, not too safe, it's kind of right in the middle, and it's not too fruity, okay? You might be like, no, I don't like that, I've looked at it, I want to be more aggressive. I think these companies are poised to take off and I want to invest in them. Or you could be like, nope, I think the stock market is going to tank next year and I don't want to be invested in anything. So I would like to just keep my 401k where it is right now. I don't want to invest it at all. I just want to keep it in cash. Not like actual cash, but just like sitting in a bank account. Right? It'll usually base it on your retirement age. So mine, it was adorably simple. They were like, how old are you? We predict that you will retire in 2042 or some like way far off year that just feels like something that future movies should be written about, Mm-hmm. So we're gonna, make risky investments when you're young and gradually get more conservative. Can you think why someone might want to do that if you were a financial advisor? Why would a financial advisor advise younger people to take bigger risks with their investments, but older people to make safer, stabler ones? Why do you think? If your total portfolio crashes when you are 25 and you lose 3/4 of your retirement savings, do you have time to build that back up again? If you are 62 and you lose 3/4 of your retirement savings, is your life looking great right now? No, right? The biggest thing, guys, and seriously, if you take only one thing from this portion, please ask questions and do your research, okay? Please. There is a little number, so I want to say MidFirst, it's TD Ameritrade. Somebody, the person that keeps track of it, there's a little number that says, need help? Have questions? Call so-and-so. Well, I called so-and-so at TD Ameritrade. I was like, hi, I know literally nothing about my default account. Can you explain it to me? And he was just like, thank you for calling. Nobody ever calls. Like the help number, like thank you for doing, seriously, call the number. Be an idiot. It's totally fine. Hey, I do not at all understand what you're talking about. Can you explain it to me? No, I'm sorry. Explain it like a second grader. Okay, explain it like you're talking to someone who's 7. That's what I tell people sometimes. If I need to really make sure it's okay, that they talk down to me. It's totally fine. Finally, once you get it all set, you have to, it's not just like set it and forget it. You do have to keep revisiting your retirement account. Anytime you change jobs or salary, hey, maybe I'm in a financial position to put more into my retirement account. Change your retirement goals. A lot of, this is really funny, that my financial advisor friends tell me this all the time. He's like, oh yeah, young people think old people have the most boring lives and that they're never going to need any money in retirement because they're going to sit and go to the library all day. Old people, when they get closer to retirement, are like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go to the library every day. I want to go to Thailand. And it turns out that's expensive. Okay? So your retirement goals might change. Increase in age, you know, as you're getting older, maybe suddenly it becomes more important to be funneling more money in. Change in life situation. Maybe you get married, you have kids, you're going back to school, you graduated, whatever. Anytime your life situation changes, am I in a position to save more for retirement? Should I be saving less? These are the things you gotta remember, okay? Most of you got a packet. If you didn't get a packet, I'll make sure you get one before you leave, okay? In here is a lot of the stuff that we talked about. It's kind of a newsletter version of it's the digest version of this hour-long time we've had together. You can see the thing about the negotiation. You can see all about how to read do the pay stub. You can think of your spending plan with your budget. And then the back is all about retirement. Guys, I can't stress enough. If you should feel empowered to ask questions. Talk to your benefits person. You know, hey, I don't really understand. What's my maximum contribution? Am I doing this right? Is this going into the right account? That's their whole job, is to help you with that. And take that kind of stuff into account when you're getting a job. It's not just your salary, it's the benefits too. Does this company include health care? Does this one match my retirement? Does this one let me work from home? You know, it's not just the number. There's a lot of other factors when you decide what you want to do with your job. So I will give you that. I also included a link to our online course. I really hope you'll take advantage of it. If you go to moneymoments.com/ASU, you can go through our whole budgeting template. There's easy little videos to check out. It's kind of like a resource for people that don't really want to ask a question yet, but they just kind of want to explore on their own before they get to that point. But of course, if you do need someone to talk to, you can speak with me as I'm cleaning up today. You can always stop by the MidFirst and say, hey, Emily came to talk to us, or with Trio, I'd really like to get back in touch with her. I had some questions. I'm happy to sit down with you. Bring me your budget. Let's go over it. I mean, it would be kind of fun. I geek out over this kind of stuff, guys. So really, let me help you in any way I possibly can. Okay? So I'll make sure I get you guys hands. Anybody else not get a handout? 1, 2, 3 right here. Okay, perfect. I'll make sure you get this. Any questions for the group before we kind of end today? Well, thanks, guys. I hope this was helpful. I think there's some surveys to fill out.
Yeah, evaluation as well. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.